Hi everyone, my name is Veda Spidle. Welcome to Gentle Yoga and Sound Healing. For those of you that are new to this class, welcome, welcome. And also a big hello to the Anahata yoga community. I miss seeing all of you so very much. But I'm glad that we at least get to practice like this together. So today, just make sure that you have props for added comfort. We will be staying on the ground the whole time, focusing on the low back and the hips. And you want to have about 3 to 4 blankets. I put a blanket down on top of my yoga mat today. If you're putting a blanket on top of your carpet, that's great. We won't be doing any standing, so that should be pretty safe. And if you don't have yoga blankets, you can grab bath towels instead. If you want to have an eye pillow for Shavasana, also that will be the time that I'll do the sound healing, go ahead and grab that. And if you don't have one and you want one, you can use a folded face towel instead. So setting up your space. For those of you that would like to donate and are able to, you can donate to the Seva Project. There is a link to the Seva Project in this video in the description. And if you're not able to donate, that's okay. You know, we are here to support each other in different ways, and we hope that you continue to practice with us. So we will be starting laying down today. Now there's a few ways to do this. You can simply lay down on your back, and that's where you start, having your props, your blankets and stuff within reach. And another option is to take one of your blankets or your towels and fold it so you have a really long rectangle, so it looks like this, and placing that lengthwise behind you. Now, I am practicing here and teaching with a sprain. I am healing, I'm okay. But if you see me doing anything different on my left side from what I'm directing for you to do, that's why. So just like I say in all my other classes, do only what's safe for you, and I'm doing that same thing. So if you have this blanket behind you, you'll want to be sitting on the mat. Your buttocks is on the mat or on the floor, and then this blanket will support your spine as you bring yourself all the way down. So the buttocks, the glutes are on the floor. Your back is supported by the blanket, and you can also take the back edge of the blanket if you have enough to fold underneath the head, or you can take another blanket, or if you have a small pillow, and place that underneath the head instead. And you can either have the feet to the floor, the knees drop in towards midline, towards each other. You can also extend the legs straight out in front of you with the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. So find a comfortable position for the legs. If it doesn't feel good with the legs extended, you can put a blanket underneath the knees, or again, just rebend the knees, feet to the floor. Hands can be by your sides with the palms facing up. You can also have the hands on the belly. Let's take a sigh breath. Close the eyes. One more for good measure. And we take these first few minutes of class to settle into the space that we're in. Aware of your surroundings. If there's any distractions, allow them to fall into the background. Taking a moment to acknowledge yourself, that you showed up for your practice, your self-care. And know that doing your best is enough, and your best might be different from day to day, and that's okay. Take a moment to energetically acknowledge your fellow Anahata yogis, other people you might be practicing with, and extend that energy out to your family, your friends, other communities that you're a part of. Feel that connection. And awareness returns to yourself, to your physical body. Feel the body relax, soften the muscles. And relax into your breathing. Breathe through the nose if you can, allowing every inhale to gently expand the belly. The navel floats away from the spine. And every exhale, the navel drops down. The breath expands the belly. And feel it draw in. Maybe building into the full deep breath, the inhale expands the belly, the ribs, the chest. And the exhale relaxes chest, ribs, and belly. Feel yourself breathing. Feel any unnecessary gripping and tension begin to melt away with each outgoing breath. Relax a little more. We'll do 3 rounds of Om, soft Oms. You can join, you can hum, you can just listen. Let's first inhale together. Side out. And inhale. If your hands are on your belly, you can release the arms by your sides, palms facing up. A few more full deep breaths here. And if the deep breath is not accessible today, that's okay. Belly breath is just fine. We want to do our best to deepen the breath, but without strain. The inhale, navel moves away from the spine, floats up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, navel drops down. Relax the muscles of the face, a few more breaths. So today, if all you can do is just lay here and breathe with conscious awareness, you're doing yoga, and that's okay. Feel yourself breathing. And if you wish to stay here longer, stay just as you are. Otherwise, we'll begin gentle movements. If it's available to you, you can extend the legs out if you're not already there. Keep the body fairly relaxed and start by gently wiggling toes and fingers. Eyes can stay closed or soft gaze. Open and close the hands as if you're squeezing sponges, and maybe point and flex the feet. And then make fists with the hands. You can relax the legs. The feet will flop open away from each other and draw circles with the fists. We want to feel that release in the wrist and then reverse direction. And then relax the arms by your sides. Rock the head side to side. Feel that release in the neck. And head returns to center. Bring the hands together at heart center. Interlace the fingers. Roll the palms open towards the ceiling, and then maybe stretch the arms up overhead. Palms facing away from the body. And maybe point and flex the feet. Full body stretch with a sigh or yawn. And release the arms by your sides. If you have the space and you want to do a little bit more opening across the shoulders, you can bring your arms into letter T with the back of the hands and the elbows on the floor. Or you can bring your arms into cactus, elbows in line with the shoulders, palms facing up, 90-degree bend in the elbows, back of the hands are on the floor. So any of those are fine. Bend the knees, feet to the floor, wider than the hips, and begin windshield wipers. Gently sway the knees, side to side, going as far to each direction as feels safe and comfortable for you. And if at any point, for those of you that have the blanket support underneath the spine, you find it to not be helpful anymore, you can always move it off to the side. Few more, side to side with the windshield wipers. We want to feel that movement in the hip joints. Now we'll continue this windshield wiper movement, but bring the feet in closer towards each other and then continue to rock the legs side to side. So this will bring the movement further up the spine. And then return to center. Readjust if you need to, and hug the right knee into the chest. The left knee can stay bent with the foot to the floor or extend the left leg all the way down. Now using both hands, one hand or no hands, to hold the right knee in towards the body. Start by pointing and flexing the right foot. Draw circles with it. Reverse the direction of the foot circles. Feeling that release in the ankle. And then draw circles with the right knee using your right hand or no hands to help guide the leg. We want that circle drawn around the hips, around the right hip. The left hand can be on the left hip or on the floor with the palm up. And reverse direction. So the size of the circles are up to you and your body. And hug the right knee in towards the chest, maybe moving the right knee towards the right underarm, the outer edges of the right ribs, coming into half happy baby, taking your right hand, holding the outer edge of the right foot behind, at the side of the shin or behind the thigh. So you want to have that leg, the knee hugging towards the floor, sole of the foot towards the sky. Keep breathing. Try to keep the left hip down. Sigh breath if you need to let any tension go. And hug the right knee in towards the chest. And now doing our hamstring stretch. Interlace your hands behind the right thigh. If it doesn't feel good, one hand or no hands. Inhale, straighten the right leg up towards the ceiling to the best of your ability. Exhale, bend the knee into the chest. So inhale, straighten the leg up, and exhale, bend the knee in. So do this a few more times, keeping the hips down, pressing up through the right heel when you straighten the leg to the best of your ability. Shaking is really normal here. If you're feeling pain, that means you might need to readjust something or not push as far. If you're feeling stretching, that's okay, and only you can differentiate that in your own body. Two more. The inhale, extend. The exhale, bend it in. And then hug the right knee in towards the chest, moving into a variation of number 4. So you'll notice my left leg is extended. The right ankle will go onto the left thigh, letting the right knee drop open. If you immediately know this is not for you, just place the left foot to the floor so it looks like this. Okay, this is our more traditional number 4. Otherwise, you're keeping the left leg extended for about 2 breaths. You can put support underneath the right knee if needed. This goes deeper into the right hip, but you want to make sure there's no pressure at your left knee. You're never putting your right foot on the left knee. It's on the thigh above the knee, or on the part of the knee closest to you. So you're on the thigh. About another breath here. And then keeping the number 4, going more into the traditional one, the left foot to the floor, the left knee bent, right ankle on the left thigh. Check in with the quality of your breath. Relax the face. And then keeping the number 4, rock the legs side to side. So it's like a number 4 windshield wiper. And again, you can go as far to each direction as feels safe for you. Just try to keep the shoulders, the upper back, the back of the head on the floor on your blanket support. One more to each side. And then come back to your number 4. Bring the right knee into the chest, give it a squeeze, left leg extends, float your forehead up to meet the right knee, take a breath, and full body stretch. Now, arms released by your sides, rebend both knees, feet to the floor, check in with the placement of your hips, buttocks needs to stay on the floor, spine can be supported by the blanket if you're doing that. Now we do the other side, left knee comes in, right leg can extend out. And we start by pointing and flexing the left foot. And just as a reminder, I do have an ankle brace on this foot, so you're not going to see me doing the same as what I'm cueing. So just do your best. We're going to be following the same sequence. Draw circles with your left foot. Reverse direction. And then draw circles with the left knee. And reverse direction. Hug the left knee into the chest, giving it a really good squeeze. You can stay here or open up into half happy baby. Doing your best to do the same as what you did on the other side if that's available to you. Most importantly, you work with your body where it's at. About 2 more breaths. Drawing the left knee down towards the outer edge of the ribs, towards the floor. Right hip stays down. And then draw the left knee into the chest. We set up for our hamstring stretch. Interlace your hands behind the left thigh. Readjust if you need to. Inhale, straighten the leg up towards the sky to the best of your ability. Exhale, bend the knee in. And continue this with the breath. Inhale. Exhale. A few more. Anytime you find that you're taking yourself too seriously or you're starting to feel a little bit tense, you can smile. That tends to help soften that seriousness that can show up in the body. Helps to calm the mind, I think, too, at times. 1 more. Squeeze the knee in towards the chest, going into our number 4 with the right leg extended first if that's available. If not, remember right foot can go to the ground with the knee bent. Check in with your breathing. And number 4, right foot to the floor. Letting the left knee on its own fall away from you. Keep the hips on the ground. And then number 4, windshield wipers, letting the legs rock side to side. Few more. So you're working with your breath. Just letting ourselves be a little bit slower. Checking in with how our hips and back are doing. And return to center. Hug the left knee into the chest to release the shape. Extend the opposite leg all the way out and float the forehead up to meet the knee. Take a breath. And full body stretch. And slowly release the arms by your sides, bend the knees. And then again, windshield wiper, same as we did earlier, starting with the feet wider than the hips, as wide as your mat if you have one. And try to match your breath here. When the knees go down, it's an exhale. When they come up through center, it's an inhale. 1 more to each side. And now continue the windshield wipers. Bring the feet in closer towards each other. They don't have to touch, they can. Side to side. Okay, and then taking a gentle twist, you'll press down through the feet, keep the knees bent, float the hips up, glide the hips to the left, lower the hips down, and then let the knees go to the right. And you can always bring support underneath the bottom leg, bring the floor a little bit closer to you. Letting the hips stack to the best of your ability, shoulders stay down, and then you can pivot your head on the neck, having the gaze go the opposite direction of the knees. Breathe into it. You want to feel that stretch through the low back, up maybe through the mid back, and as deep as breaths as you can do without strain. Remember, we're in a twist, so the deep breathing will feel different than when we're in neutral. About 2 to 3 more breaths here. I imagine you guys are doing great. Another breath. And then bring the legs up And we'll switch sides. So readjust to midline. Grab the support if you need it for the other side. Press down through the feet, hips up, glide the hips to the right, hips down, and let your knees fall to the left. And gaze can go opposite of the knees. If that doesn't feel good on the neck, don't do it. Relax the jaw. Breathe through the nose. And feel the low back relaxing. Feel the hips letting go of gripping. A few more moments here. With your next inhale, slowly bring yourself up. Exhale to readjust at midline. And then hug both knees into the chest. And float your forehead up to meet the knees. In this case, you'll see I'm bringing the knees in really close. My buttocks floats off the floor if I have that blanket. If that happens, that's normal. And slowly release the hips down, full body stretch. And arms by your sides. Bend the knees. Take a moment here. And then roll over to your comfortable side. Press yourself up when you feel ready and transition into table all fours. You can have support in the back end of your mat to put underneath the tops of the ankles. This can be really nice for those of you that have pressure in the knees. It's also really nice if you're healing an ankle. So letting the feet drape over that blanket. Toenails still gently rest on the floor. Your wrists are underneath the shoulders. The fingers are wide. The hips are over the knees. And take a moment here. Neutral spine. Sigh breath if you need it. We begin our cat-cows from the tailbone. Inhale, tailbone scoops up. Belly drops, heart gaze forward. And then as you exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the spine, chin to chest. Inhale, cow, and exhale, cat. About two more. And come into neutral spine. Separate the hands a little bit wider from each other. Bring the knees in closer and the feet in closer towards midline. Draw the low belly in toward the low back. We're setting up for a hip release. Relax the heart down and then gently rock the hips side to side. Hands and knees need to remain in contact with the floor. Fingers stay wide. Elbows can bend if needed. It's not about touching the floor with the hips. It's about gently releasing the hips. A few more to each side. Keep breathing. Keep the muscles of the face soft. Smile again if you need to. And bring yourself back to center. And then from here, taking child's pose. So the traditional, or more of the commonly seen child's pose, is big toes together, knees wide. You'll sit back to the heels, which I can't demonstrate right now. You can also put a blanket between your hips and heels to give a little more space for the knees. And then your forehead will come to the floor. You can stack fists for the forehead, maybe finding another form of support for the forehead. Now, if this is too much on your body, you can keep the table position for the lower part of the body, hips over knees, and walk the upper body forward, forehead to the floor. Maybe elbows down, just depends on how that feels for you. Another option is laying on your back, hugging the knees into the chest. So I'm actually going to take what looks more like puppy, which is one of the things that I just spoke about, forehead down, and take a few breaths here. So child's pose, this pose, maybe on the back with the knees to the chest. I'm adding a little strength building to my variation by floating the palms off the floor and I'm on the fingertips. There's too much pressure on the head. Don't do it. Another breath. And then slowly bring yourself up. Deep breath in. Side out. And then walk yourself down onto the belly. So you can keep the support underneath the ankles if you need that for your knees or your ankles. And then create a forehead pillow with your forearms or the tops of the hands. So your hands are stacked. Once you're here, creating a little more space in the low back by lifting the right leg off the floor a few inches. Reach out through the big toe as if I'm pulling on the leg. Relax the leg down. Do the same on the other side. Lift, lengthen, lower. Once more on each side. Lift the leg, not higher than the hip. Reach out through the big toe, lower. Lift the left, lengthen, lower. Rock the hip side to side. And then take a moment, relax the body. Deep breaths. And then we place our hands in line with the chest, palms to the floor, forehead to the floor, elbows hug in and point back, tops of the feet press down, simultaneously out through the toes, but keep the knees down. When you're ready, baby cobra, inhale to lift the heart, the gaze. Keep the muscles of the legs engaged. Keep breathing. The effort of the hands, you're pressing down through the hands and trying to pull yourself forward. The heart is reaching forward, feeling that lengthening in the back. So think less of bending here and more of lengthening the spine forward and up. Another breath. With your exhale, slowly release. You can release onto your stacked hands or your forearms or onto one of your ears, palms by your sides, and palms facing up. Oh, arms by your sides, palms facing up. There we go. Can't relax so much that I forget the details of the cueing, huh? Take a side breath. If once was enough, stay where you are. Otherwise, we build Sphinx. Slowly bring yourself upright with the upper body. Bring the arms parallel to each other. Palms are on the floor, fingers wide. Elbows are just in front of the shoulders. And then reach the heart forward and up. The legs are engaged the same way they were earlier. Keep breathing. And look side to side, getting into the neck. And then gaze forward. Slowly release, opposite cheek or forehead down, and take a breath. Full deep breaths. Let the body relax. Now once more into Sphinx. If it doesn't feel good for you, baby cobra. Inhale, lift the gaze, the heart, arms parallel to each other, fingers wide. Heart is reaching forward and up. Now once you have that, inhale here. When you exhale, bend the right knee, bring the right heel in towards the right buttock, and release. Inhale. Exhale, hug it in. Left heel in towards the left hip, and release. So inhale. Exhale, squeeze the right heel in. Inhale, the leg releases. Exhale, squeeze the left heel in. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze the right. Inhale, release. Left. If your breathing is opposite of this, that's fine. Once more on each side. Keep the heart lifted. Good work, guys. Slowly release the legs. Forehead to the floor, hands relatively under shoulders, elbows back, press up through table. And your variation, what feels best for you for child's pose. So again, you can always put support between your hips and heels to keep space in the knees. So we'll be here for about 30 seconds to a minute. Relax the face and deep breathe. Few more breaths. Feel the breath come. Feel the breath go. Now, when you're ready, with your next inhale, press yourself up to table. Exhale to readjust. Okay, doing a few knee circles here from table. I'll demonstrate with my left leg first so you can see me. You're going to lift your left knee out to the side and then draw circles. Reverse. And other side. Right knee floats out to the side, draw circles. If you're to the right side, then you're doing your other right side. Reverse. And release. Table, side breath. Okay, taking a lizard pose here. You'll bring your right hand to the midline, so your hands are closer together. Take your right leg, step it to the outer edge of the right hand. So if this is enough, this is where you stay. If you want strength building, and I will not be able to demonstrate this, your back toes will tuck under and your back knee will float off the floor. And that's for the strength building variation of the back leg. Otherwise, you can start to dip the hips forward. The right knee needs to stay over its ankle. So if you find that you have the space, you walk the right leg forward. Now you'll stay on the hands. You can go down to blocks if you have them. You can go down to your blankets if they have a little bit of support there, but you want to keep your hands at even height. About 4 more breaths wherever you're at. Keep the jaw relaxed. When you're ready, slowly walk your hands up, come back to table. Take a breath. Now we do the other side. Your left hand will come to midline. Left foot comes to the outer edge. For strength building, back knee can lift up or the knee stays on the ground. So you'll stay here or you'll go down further. Make sure the shoulders stay pretty leveled. Forearms, your hands are on the same height. And we breathe. Relax the eyes. When you feel ready, slowly find your way back into table. Take a moment here. And then transition to your seat. We're going to open the legs out wide. So I recommend sitting elevated on a folded blanket. And then if you're choosing to sit up higher to support your posture, make sure you definitely have support underneath the knees. Even for sitting up on one blanket right now, I am putting support under the knees. And this is also a really nice addition to do if you find that your hamstrings are really tight or you're rounding in the low back and the mid back. That could be a lot of stress on the body. So if you sit up higher and put support under the knees, that can help you to sit up a little bit taller. Okay. Using your hands to move the glutes out from underneath you so that you're really rooted on the sitting bones. Sit tall for a moment, hands behind you. Deep breath in, side out. And full deep breathing here. We want to feel the breath build from the pelvic floor up, from the top down. If your breath doesn't go all the way up today, that's fine. We really definitely want to feel the navel drop forward on the inhale. We want to feel it retract on the exhale. A few more breaths here. Now you can stay like this, or start to point and flex your feet. Gently bounce the knees. And then let the toes point upwards. Now, if this is enough for your body, this is where you stay. If you're folding forward, you can first take your hands to your hips, let the pelvis tilt forward, guide the pelvis to tilt forward. So your weight is more in the front end of the sitting bones. Hands go in front of you on the floor. You can be on fingertips or palms to the ground. Lengthen the spine, draw the chin in gently towards the throat if you tend to lead with the head. So if you find your head doing this, bring the chin back. So you're really supporting the neck here as well. And you're hinging, you're tilting forward from the pelvis, not the ribs. All right, so keep the spine elongated, go to your safe edge here. And we're going to be here for about 1 minute to 2 minutes, really allowing ourselves to settle into the shape. The breath moves with ease. So this pose is said that it could potentially help with relieving discomfort from sciatica if it's taken for a few minutes a day. It's not for everybody, but if you have sciatica, if you have tightness in the back, this can really help to loosen some of that up. If you find folding forward is a little bit too much, but you want a little bit of a tilt forward, you can always bring a chair in front of you and put your hands on the seat of the chair, and you can even rest your forehead. So if you imagine there's a chair in front of me here. We have about another minute. Easy breathing. Keep the muscles of the face soft, the breath moving through the nose. A few more breaths. You might find that you're able to go a little bit further. If not, that's fine too. Feel the spine really elongated. When you feel ready, walk the hands in towards the body, come upright, release the breath, and then bring the hands underneath the back of the knees, slowly bending the knees, bring the feet together, knees drop open into bound angle. Hands go to the base of the knees to start, sit tall. Maybe the hands go to the shins or at the ankles, as long as you keep the spine elongated. We're going to take a twist here. I will mirror you. Take your left hand to the right knee and your right hand behind you. Inhale to lengthen, and as you exhale, begin to slowly twist to the right. So belly, ribs, shoulders, head, top of the head stays over the heart, over the pelvic floor. Inhale back. Release the hands to the knees. Now we switch. Your right hand goes to the left knee, left hand goes behind you, lengthen, and then as you exhale, begin to twist to the left. Another breath. Inhale back and exhale, release. And use your hands to draw the knees together, feet to the floor, wider than hips, taking one-legged windshield wipers. Readjust your hips if needed. Drop one knee in at a time towards its opposite ankle. So it's not about touching the floor, especially if you're sitting up higher. That could be a little bit difficult. You don't want to do that kind of pressure to your hip. So it's just about getting into the hip, what feels right for your body. About 2 more to each side. Keep the heart elevated. If this makes you walk forward by sitting and doing this movement, just readjust. It's really normal. Okay, when that feels even on both sides, knees pointing up, bring the feet in closer together, readjust your hips if needed, hug the knees around, hug your hands around the knees, and you can go to the shins, whatever feels right for you. Gently round the spine and let the forehead rest down. If that doesn't feel good, keep the spine elongated. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, release the hands behind you. Separate the feet, toes point forward. Lift the heart. Really lengthen the spine. Imagine there's a string at the center of the sternum, lifting the heart up. And then release to neutral spine. And we return to laying down. Now, if you want to do the same thing we did when we first started, you can take one of your blankets or your towels and fold it so it has this long rectangular shape, and then place that behind you. You don't have to use this. Have your other props nearby. Your buttocks is on the floor. Feet to the floor. Walk yourself down, putting support underneath the head if needed. Just make sure the head's not lifted too high. And then take a moment here, check in with the hips. The glutes, the muscles of the buttocks are on the floor. When that feels good, full body stretch. Stretch every muscle that you can. A smile, yawn. And then release the arms. We bend the knees, feet to the floor. Coming into bound angle, we'll be here for a few minutes. The soles of the feet will touch, knees drop open. This is actually one of my personal favorites, and this is a restorative pose that has so many potential benefits, and it can be done even on its own. So you can always just lay down and rest in this shape if needed. Okay, so take care to have your knees, the outer edges of your thighs supported. And if one leg needs to be supported higher, try to match the other leg so that they're both at the same height. That will help with relaxing the hips and not causing an uneven amount of work on the hips. Relaxing the back, arms by your sides in letter T or cactus. And you can always extend the legs out with blankets under the knees if this doesn't feel good. Once you've settled, see if there's anything else that you need, covering up in a blanket, putting on your eye pillow. I'll start with playing the bowls, and then you'll hear me guide you into Shavasana. You can either choose to stay in this pose in place of traditional Shavasana, or you can move into Shavasana when I give you that cue. To settle, take a sigh. Relax the body. Relax into your breath. And allow yourself now to just be. Let go of efforts. Just be. If you're currently resting in bound angle and you'd like to move into traditional Shavasana or another supportive position for the sound healing, go ahead and adjust yourself now. Try to keep your eyes closed if you can. Awareness returns to the breath. Try to remain still. Deepen the breath. Awareness returns to the body, feeling the air on the skin. Begin gentle movements, wiggling toes and fingers, pointing and flexing the feet, rocking the head side to side. Maybe a full body stretch. And then taking windshield wipers or hugging the knees into the chest, gently rocking the legs or the body side to side. Move slowly. When you feel ready, roll over to your comfortable side, resting in the fetal position, and pause there. Deepen your breath. Press yourself up, keeping the eyes closed, and bring the hands together at heart center, Anjali Mudra. Deepen the breath just a little bit more, but let it move with ease. And we'll close with a single sound of Om. Receive your breath. Om. Bowing head to heart in honor of each other, ourselves, and this practice. Thank you so much for supporting each other, yourself. It's an honor to guide all of you. Namaste.